Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown, the unofficial sumo podcast for official sumo fans. Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. My name is Ryan, and I am joined by three of my very good friends and fellow new sumo enthusiasts.
This is Jake.
This is Eric Flair, a.k.a. Flairick.
And this is Scott Drake, a.k.a. Mac.
This is the very first edition of Grand Sumo Breakdown. Thank you for joining us on our maiden voyage, and we hope you continue with us as we cover each of the 6 yearly tournaments. This episode will be a little different than our usual episodes. This one will be a brief introduction to sumo wrestling for people like us who gained an interest in sumo but knew nothing about it. First half of this episode will be a little dry and mostly an info dump, but we'll give you the information that you'll need to understand our future episodes. The second half of this episode will break down why we got into sumo and what to expect in future episodes. But let's get right to it. Sumo is a sport that started because of the Shinto religion in Japan and has been around for over 1,000 years. But to get into more about actual sumo, I'm going to hand it over to Jake.
Thanks. Yeah, essentially, sumo is a sport contested between two rikishi, is the Japanese word for it. It literally means powerful man, but it's the word colloquially used for a sumo wrestler. These rikishi are tall, athletic, they're very strong. They wear their hair in fancy top knots, and they wear thick special belts called mawashi.
Yeah, and you mentioned that they're very large and athletic. When you say large, the smallest ones there are going to be just under 300 pounds.
Right, and they range up to well over 400. These are really large men in a sport where weight gain is important towards your success. These guys face off on a clay surface in a ring known as a dohyo. There's no starting bell. These guys, they just get in the ring and they put their fists down on the ground, and as soon as both guys have their hands down, they just charge at each other, swinging slaps, pushing, grabbing each other, and trying to push each other out of the ring or take each other to the ground. There's a lot of different techniques that guys use here. Some guys just use brute force and try to push their opponent backwards until they have nowhere else to go. Some guys try to just get a grip on the belt and throw their opponent to the ground. Most of the time, it ends up with guys either pushing each other or grabbed on and just kind of working their way around the ring until somebody gets pushed out. These matches usually only last a couple seconds.
But yeah, sometimes we've seen matches just when we're watching that have lasted over a couple of minutes.
Yeah, technically there's no time limit. They can go up to like maybe 4 minutes or so, I believe, and then there's a mandated water break, and then they just have the guys reset. But yeah, there's no limit to the match. It's all just kind of case by case. But yeah, these matches take place in the context of tournaments. So Mac, why don't you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yeah, I can do that. There are 6 tournaments throughout the year called Hanbasho. They're held in multiple prefectures throughout Japan. They last for about 15 days, and the matches are assigned day to day. 1 match for each rikishi per day. The winner has the best record from the 15-day exhibition. It's called the Yusho winner. An award for the runner-up is called the Jun Yusho.
Yeah, and you can end a tournament in a tie.
No, at that point you have a playoff between the 2 Yusho contenders, and it's
just an instant match that happens right after the last match of whatever had happened before, and the guys with a tying record face off against each other.
That's right. And throughout the tournament, you can have Sansho, which are special awards awarded to the rikishi who have done something outstanding during the exhibition. If you have an 8-7 record or better, it's called a kachikoshi, or more wins than losses, which results in a promotion in rank. But if you have a 7-8 record or worse, it's called a makakoshi, more losses than wins, which results in a demotion in rank. And if you are absent from the Yusho, that counts as a loss, and you will lose your rank.
What about if they're injured as well?
It doesn't matter. If you are not there at that Yusho, you are losing rank. Flairick, why don't you talk a little bit more about the ranks?
Sure thing. Ranks are very important in sumo. They determine how much you are paid and your place in the sumo society. Lower rank, you have lots of chores and have very small pay. But as you move up, you actually start to get some money. You own your own room, and you can actually get married as well. Ranks are determined by the Sumo Association and are released a couple weeks before each tournament in a document called the Banzuke. There are hundreds of wrestlers in 6 different divisions, the top division being the Makunochi division, which has the best 42 wrestlers or rikishi. The bulk of which in the Makunochi division is Megashira rank, which has about 30 or so wrestlers. The rank above that are the Komusubi and Sekiwaki rank above that, which is the best you can get with a winning record. The 2 ranks above that are called the championship ranks. The first of which being the Ozeki, which you only get by having 3 tournaments in a row where you're consistently have a really good record. And the one above that means an consistently even better as a championship, winning those records or a whole entire year where you're doing pretty well. In the Ozeki rank, there are currently 3 Ozeki, and there are currently 4 Yokozuna in the Yokozuna rank.
Yeah, that's the very top rank anybody can ever achieve. In the 200 or 300 years of recorded sumo history, there have only been about 70 of those.
It's a very prestigious rank. If you sully it with a losing record, Makikochi 7-8 or worse, you're going to be pressured by the Sumo Association to instantly retire.
Which is the only way to lose that Yokozuna rank. It's the only rank where having poor tournament records will not result in a demotion. It's essentially just pressure to not sully the rank any further as you decline with age, or if you bring shame to the Sumo Association or anything like that.
That was a lot of information that we gave you guys. So we're going to take a quick break and come back and tell you a little bit more about the 4 men whose hearts have been stolen by sumo. Welcome back. At this time, we just wanted to share the different ways that we watch sumo. Me personally, I watch a highlight show called Grand Sumo Highlights. This is put out each day of the tournament by NHK. They're going to highlight the matches with the highest ranked sumotori and some of the better matches in the Maegashira ranks, but I know there are a couple other ways that you can watch some sumo videos.
Yeah, you can find a lot of stuff on YouTube. You can find a lot of past videos and highlights of specific wrestlers. In addition to, in certain places, you can even find the most current matches going on. There's also an NHK live stream on their website that you can watch if you're really into it. But that is where you can find that Grand Sumo highlights at the end of the day.
Yeah, you can also find the Japanese stream, which has all of the matches of the Juryo and Makinuchi as well as the top division. You just have to kind of go digging for those.
Juryo is the division just below Makunochi. It's the, I believe, 28 wrestlers below those top 42.
And it's where you strive to get to so you can actually marry somebody.
And get paid.
And get paid.
And the money.
Yeah. So at this time, we just kind of want to introduce ourselves a little bit more. It's kind of interesting how 4 guys from the Midwest got into the sport. At least we find it interesting. So we're just going to take some time to introduce ourselves, and we're going to start with Jake because he's the guy who started this whole thing.
Yeah, I kind of stumbled across it and ended up getting my buddies into it here. But I'm kind of a dork. I'm interested in statistics, which led me to the website 538. They do a lot of political and sports and current events analysis with a focus on statistics. And because sumo has such a long recorded history with so many numbers and so many names involved, they were able to compile a historical record that could compare a historical wrestler named Raiden, who was previously one of the guys considered the greatest of all time. They have a lot of statistics on him, so they could compare him to modern greats such as Hakuho. And that article really just sparked a curiosity in me. So I started searching out videos. I came across stuff on YouTube, and I just thought it'd be a weird and fun sport to follow with some friends. So got these guys into it so I'd have somebody to talk to about it, and here we are. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a very interesting sport.
It's addicting.
Yeah, very thing. Glad you touched on the weirdness because that's one of the things I find I thoroughly enjoy about watching this sport. These are guys who devote their life to waking up early and training in sumo all morning, and then after a hard day's training, they go and have a big lunch consisting of this thing called chako, which is kind of almost a soup, vegetable soup of sorts.
It's a stew of basically whatever's in the kitchen.
Exactly, and super calorie dense. They followed that up by drinking a bunch of beer and then by taking a nap like immediately after that. So like they pack on as much calories as possible. And it's just I'm super fascinated by people who live that lifestyle and what they can accomplish in sumo from there. One thing I enjoy also is the obvious skill gap. I thoroughly enjoy watching competitive endeavors where you can see someone who has a whole lot of skill at that thing, and it shines through whenever they go against someone. You can especially see that in sumo, of where a high-rank yokozuna goes against someone of lower rank. You can tell that they are a step above that person.
Yeah, and that's why it's a very big occasion when a Maegashira, the lowest rank in the Makunochi division, defeats a Yokozuna. Has a special name. It's called a Kinboshi. It's called a Gold Star match, and pretty much it gives that Maegashira a permanent pay increase for the rest of their career. And people just go nuts, throw their pillows and everything.
Yeah,
So many pillows.
It's a permanent raise, and yeah, the crowd just goes nuts. It's pretty rare, but it does happen. It does happen at least a couple times a tournament, and the crowd loses their minds, throws their pillows in celebration. It's just all around a great deal.
Much to the Gyoji's displeasure.
Oh yeah, they're not happy about it. But so you'd think at this point they know they're going to throw the pillows, but they still are unhappy about it every single time. I don't understand how something that's happened for literally decades, maybe even centuries, how they can still be upset about something like that.
At least one stadium has the pillows fixed to the ground.
Yeah, and don't they just bring in their own pillows?
That's what I hear, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of buzz about people bringing their own pillows.
See, for me, it's about the rituals. So when the Yokozuna makes his entry dance, it is his specific way to honor the ring, honor the gods, and honor the sport. And it's individualized per Yokozuna. And when all the Rikishi come out and they do their special dance, everything has meaning. Everything has some deeper symbolism behind it. And that really drew me in initially.
Yeah, a lot of that comes from Shinto. Like they throw salt into the ring to purify it of evil spirits and things like that, and their loud claps and their loud stomps and things like that. It's all based on tradition and ritual and Shinto.
And you can't let women touch the doyo.
Yep. Take the bad with the good.
Yeah.
The other thing I really liked was the sport's simplicity. Only your feet can touch the bottom of the clay, and after that, it's anything goes. If it's an elbow, if it's a hand, knee, you're done. The match is over.
Technically, no closed fists, no kicks, but that's pretty much it. No hair pulling. What other rules are there?
Yeah, I was about to say, and God forbid you touch their hair.
No, that's bad. That's bad.
No.
No, you can get instantly disqualified if you grab another sumo wrestler's top knot.
But feel free to just wind up and slap him across the face with all your might. That's perfectly okay.
Gigantic haymakers are acceptable so long as your hand is open.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is just the athletic ability of these Rikishi as they're squaring off. You've got a 400-pound guy going against, say, a 200-pound guy, and the 200-pound man can hold his own. These guys are flying across the ring. Think of NFL linemen just constantly squaring off against each other.
Yeah, the small guys, their speed makes up for a lot of it, but generally the guys at the top are very big because there's no weight classes, so the harder you are to move, the bigger it is to your advantage, and that just goes indefinitely. The biggest guys get well over 400 pounds.
Yeah, and what keeps me coming back to sumo wrestling is every match has a consequence. Whether you're at the top of the rankings for that particular tournament and you're going for the Yusho or the grand championship of that tournament, or if you're like a Sekewake, you've had 2 11-win tournaments in a row, and you need to get a third one so that you can get a promotion to the Ozeki rank. Or maybe you're already in Ozeki. You had a Make Kochi or a losing record in the last tournament, and so you're going to lose your Ozeki rank if you have another one of those. So you have to follow this Ozeki throughout the tournament and see if they can get their Kachi Koshi and maintain their Ozeki rank.
Yeah, it's always the playoffs. Every single tournament is a big deal, and every single match within it is a big deal.
Yeah. Even on the last day, you could have 2 Maegashira that are 7-7, well out of the Yusho race. They're not going to win any special prizes, but you're going to have a battle between 2 guys. One is going to have a winning record and is going to rise in the ranks, and the other is going to have a losing record and fall in the ranks. So even in that matchup of seemingly insignificance, there's significance to it. So that's just a little bit more about ourselves and what keeps us coming back to sumo, and maybe you heard a couple of things in there that you really enjoy about sumo. But right now, I just want to tell you a little bit more about how our usual shows are going to work. We're going to have 2 episodes per tournament. We're going to have a preview episode where we're going to discuss the recently released Bansuke. We're going to talk about people who have moved up in the rankings, people who have moved down in the rankings. We're going to talk about different storylines going into each tournament. I can guarantee you when we talk about the September tournament coming up, we're going to talk about the different roughed up Yokozuna.
Yeah, there's a couple guys with some serious injuries that are probably going to hold them back.
Yeah, we're probably not going to see all of the Yokozuna and Ozeki in this upcoming tournament, and if we do, I'll honestly be kind of disappointed because they need their rest. We're also going to have a prediction series where each of us are going to take a stab at who's going to win the tournament and some different things throughout the tournament, and our pride is on the line because there's going to be a punishment for the loser that you're going to be able to enjoy in the review episode. So in the review episode, we're going to discuss the tournament that just happened, talk about the winners, talk about the big losers, talk about the different storylines that happened throughout the tournament. We're going to predict what the next Bansuke is going to look like based on the results of this tournament, and then we'll reveal the winner of the predictions and have the loser go through their punishment where they will be sorely, sorely sad that they were so stupid during the prediction series.
So sad.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, we just kind of want our episodes to be a semi-educated discussion.
Even that is kind of generous.
And we just want to make sumo more accessible to the people out there because it's a very interesting sport. We've attached to it so quickly. We want to know more about it, and we just want more people out there that know about this sport because it really is a fascinating sport, and I think more people should get to know it. We're also going to have periodic episodes in between our review and preview episodes discussing different sumo topics and different rikishi. I'm sure we'll have an episode out about Hakuho. Jake's little pet project is going to be about Raiden. Have an episode about him. I'm sure there's going to be an episode about the Shinto religion and how that affects the sumo practice and the different rituals that you're going to see. But until then, if you like this podcast, you can subscribe and review it on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Follow us on Twitter at GSumo Breakdown and our Facebook page at Grand Sumo Breakdown.
You can check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com, where you can follow our Fantasy Sumo League and find other interesting things.
Please send any other comments, questions, or corrections to grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com.
That's it for this episode. Check out our preview edition for the September tournament. Until then, I've been Ryan.
I've been Jake.
I've been Fleric.
And I've been Mac.
We'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time, throw your salt high and keep moving forward.